Chicago Sky, y'all stink, bro. Y'all, look, there's trash and then there's trash. You know what I'm saying? But look, man, the Chicago Sky got destroyed by the Stud Buds. Everybody watches the Stud Buds. Shout out to Courtney Williams and Tisha Heiderman, man. Listen, Stud Buds stood on business today. Nafisa Collier stood on business today. They destroyed the Chicago Sky.
Chicago Sky, y'all are cooked. There's trash. And then there's sky level trash. This wasn't just a loss. This was a 91-68 crime scene. Minnesota didn't play a game. They hosted a basketball autopsy. From the opening tip, the Lynx controlled every possession like they were teaching a master class. Every quarter, every rotation, every run. Pure domination. Courtney Williams, Tisha Heidemann, Nafessa Collier. Business was handled. The Stud Buds put on a show. Collier, 19 points, 8 boards, 4 assists. Kayla McBride, 19 points, shot 50%, cooked from deep. And the plus-minus, +29, +27, +23. They bullied Chicago on both ends. Meanwhile, the Sky were a mess. Angel Reese padded her double-double streak with 11 points and 11 rebounds. Sounds solid, right? Until you see the 9 turnovers. 9? That's not a typo. That's a full sabotage. She nearly recorded a triple-double in the worst way possible, and the kicker. Chicago played better with her on the bench. That's the part nobody's talking about. When Reese sat, the offense flowed better. Quicker decisions, more ball movement, better looks. With her in turnover city, broken plays, missed connections. Her decision-making brought the whole offense to a screeching halt. She's not Alyssa Thomas. She's not a point forward. Y'all gotta stop forcing that narrative. Let's talk about those 9 turnovers. No-look passes to nobody. Half-court post-entry attempts from the logo. Traveling. Losing the ball under light pressure. Entry passes thrown into the 10th row. She looked lost, not just once, but over and over again. And the tech, her 7th of the season. 1 away from suspension. She got blocked by her old Maryland teammate, hit the deck, jumped up angry, and barked at someone. That's not leadership. That's poor composure. That's hurting your team when they need stability. Look, stuffing the stat sheet is one thing. Actually helping your team win is another. Reese's double-doubles, or McDoubles, if you will, don't mean a thing when they come with high turnovers, poor defense, and bad energy. Compare her to what the Lynx did. Every single Minnesota player contributed to team success. No one was out there hunting. Collier, McBride, Williams, they all played within the system, and they cooked. They made smart cuts, took high-efficiency shots, and moved the ball unselfishly. That's winning basketball. Minnesota didn't take their foot off the gas for a second. They smelled blood and went in for the kill. And while Chicago was forcing awkward ISO sets and praying for fouls, the Lynx were running fast breaks, finding open shooters, and punishing every mistake. Reese wasn't the only problem. Camila Cardozo had a 10-10 night, but went 4 of -12 from the floor. Kia Nurse dropped 16 in Ariel Atkins' absence, but it wasn't enough. Without Atkins, Chicago's already shaky perimeter shot creation vanished completely. And with Reese turning over the ball like it was her job, this team didn't just lose, they got humiliated. Chicago's now 7-16. That's 4 games back from the 8th seed. The playoff window practically slammed shut. You can't claw your way into the postseason when your supposed franchise player is leading the league in technicals and turnovers. And while we're here, let's call out the double standard. When Caitlin Clark turns it over aggressively trying to create, y'all turn into turnover police. But when Reese gifts 9 turnovers with 3 assists and no rhythm, the silence is deafening. Stop playing favorites. Be real. The reality. Angel Reese might not be helping this team. She might be holding them back. When the ball isn't in her hands, Chicago plays faster, smarter, and with more purpose. When she's initiating offense, it's chaos. She's not creating looks. She's killing spacing. She's stopping momentum. This isn't even about one game anymore. It's a pattern. She plays her role like she's the focal point, but she lacks the fundamentals to carry that weight. Good teams know how to expose that. And Minnesota did, ruthlessly. Defensively, she's getting exposed to guards, are burning her off the dribble. Bigs are bodying her in the post. She's fouling to make up for poor reads. Add it up. Poor decision-making, weak defensive positioning, and mental lapses under pressure. And look, if Angel Reese is the best player on your team's gonna be bad. Flat out, she can be a strong 3rd or 4th option, sure, but a franchise centerpiece, not yet. Not with this skill set. This game wasn't just a blowout. It was a red flag. The Sky are built on a flawed foundation, prioritizing individual stats over actual team cohesion. While Minnesota was sharing the ball and executing at every level, Chicago looked like they'd never practiced together. What's even more damning, Reese's plus-minus was -19. That's not an outlier, that's a reflection. The team is worse when she's on the floor and controlling the game. So now the real question, is Angel Reese the future of the Chicago Sky, or the biggest obstacle to their success? Do you trade her? Do you adjust her role? Or do you keep chasing those double-double headlines while missing the playoffs year after year? Let us know what you think in the comments. Like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss what's really happening on the court. Click the video on screen. We'll see you in the next one. You said 1,500 words. Key script, Utura, Morisco, explain kr.chat, GPT, said, updated, saved memory. Great, I'll expand your script to hit the 1,500 word target with deeper analysis. More breakdowns of key moments, and extended context on players, team dynamics, and league implications. Here's the expanded version of the script, in the same bold, blunt tone, now stretched for impact, clarity, and insight. Chicago Sky fans, brace yourselves, because this wasn't just a bad night, this was an exposure. A 91-68 dismantling at the hands of the Minnesota Lynx. A humiliation, a warning shot, whatever you want to call it. Just know, the Sky weren't just outplayed, they were outclassed, start to finish. Every single possession. Let's talk about Minnesota first, because credit where credit's due. This wasn't just a regular season win, this was domination by design. Nafessa Collier, Kayla McBride, Courtney Williams, and Tisha Heidman. These ladies didn't just hoop, they executed. Every cut, every rotation, every defensive switch. Textbook. Collier, 19 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists. Efficient, composed, and always in the right spot. Kayla McBride, also 19 points, shooting 8 of 14, 3 of 7 from 3. And it wasn't just the points, it was the timing, the control, the fact that Minnesota had 5 players in double digits, all within the flow of the offense. Team basketball at its finest. And the plus mean. Unreal and Bainton Webby plus 27, plus 23. Basically, anytime a Lynx starter was on the court, Chicago was getting cooked. Not edged out, not slightly outscored. Embarrassed. Meanwhile, the Sky. Oh boy. Let's start with Angel Reese. Everyone's favorite talking point. 11 points, 11 rebounds. Another double-double. Sounds solid, right? Until you look closer. 9 turnovers. 9. That's not a typo. That's not an accident. That's a meltdown. She was literally a turnover machine. Throwing away entry passes. Forcing no-look dimes that hit the wrong team in stride. Picking up travels. Dropping the ball at half court. And worse, it wasn't happening under suffocating pressure. These were fundamental errors. Poor decisions. Reckless attempts at doing too much. And somehow, it gets worse. Because here's what no one in the Sky locker room wants to admit. Chicago looked more competent with Reese on the bench. That's not shade, that's math. Ball movement improved. Shot selection improved. Spacing improved. Tempo improved. Why? Because the Sky's offense wasn't being hijacked by one player, trying to be the engine and the transmission. Reese is being used like a point forward, and she simply doesn't have the tools. She's not Alyssa Thomas. Not even close. Her handles, loose. Her decision-making is erratic. Her court vision, limited. But the team keeps giving her the ball at half court like she's about to orchestrate a symphony. Instead, it's chaos. Let's break down those turnovers for real. No-look passes that hit Minnesota defenders right in the chest. Post-entry passes attempted from the logo. Why? Travels while setting up in the paint. Just basic footwork. Mistakes. Dribble drives into nowhere, ending with the ball flying out of bounds. These aren't high-Q risks gone wrong. These are basketball 101 breakdowns. And then came the cherry on top. Another technical foul. Her 7th this season. Let that sink in. Angel Reese now leads the entire league in technicals. One more, and she's automatically suspended. This one came after she got blocked, hit the floor, then immediately popped up and started jawing at Diamond Miller, a former teammate. Leadership. Nope, that's not leadership. That's emotional immaturity at the worst possible time. Meanwhile, the Lynx stayed locked in. No antics, no ego, just consistent, efficient execution. They didn't just beat Chicago, they dissected them. The stat lines tell part of the story, sure, but it was the way Minnesota played, with precision, chemistry, and zero selfishness. That made this a basketball clinic. Every possession had purpose. Every pass had intention. Every shot came from rhythm, not desperation. In contrast, Chicago's entire offense felt like a group project where no one wanted to share the Google Doc. Let's be honest, Angel Reese is talented, tough, great rebounder, brings energy, but if she's your best player, your team's going to struggle badly. She's not a franchise centerpiece yet. Not with this level of decision-making. Not with this many giveaways. Not with her current skill set. If Reese is your 3rd best player, you've got something. If she's your 4th, you might be a contender. But if she's the number 1 option,